All right, so get it. We're diving deep today into some Ghanaian celebrity baby news.
Oh, ooh, fun.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You actually sent me this article from 3 News called Five Ghanaian Celebrities Who Welcomed New Babies in 2024.
Okay.
And get this, it was published on December 20th, so it's like super recent.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? So it's really interesting because of the different types of celebrities on the list. You know, we've got a boxer, a social media star, someone who plays for the Black Stars A&D in the Premier League.
Wow.
I know, right? There's also a dance hall musician and even a media personality.
It's such an interesting mix. It really shows a good range of Ghanaian popular culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really makes you think about, you know, celebrity and family life in the digital age, especially with how they've all chosen to share their big news.
Yeah, that's a great point to start with, actually.
Yeah.
The article focuses on how they've all basically added parent to their list of achievements now. What are your thoughts on that, how it's presented?
Well, I mean, yeah, becoming a parent is a huge life event.
Uh,
But it's interesting how it's being presented almost as an achievement, like
Yeah.
alongside all their career stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if that sort of adds another layer to their public image.
No, for sure. It's almost like parenthood becomes part of their brand.
Right. Okay, so let's jump into the specifics.
Okay.
The article starts off with Freezy McBones, the boxer. He announced his first kid was born back in November.
Okay.
He posted a picture on Instagram straight from the hospital bed.
Wow. That's pretty common these days, though, isn't it? That very immediate kind of announcement.
Yeah, you're right. It's like you're right there with them in the room.
Yeah, exactly. But
But then we have Asantewa, who's a big social media personality. She did things a little differently. She posted baby bump pictures in March,
Okay.
but then didn't actually reveal the baby photos until April.
Oh, interesting. So she kind of kept everyone waiting.
I know. Do you think there was a strategy behind that? Like a way to keep her followers engaged?
Probably. It definitely creates a sense of anticipation.
Then there's Thomas Partey, who plays football for the Black Stars, A&D for Arsenal.
Right.
His partner Janine Maxon shared the news about their baby way back in January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they posted this picture on Instagram of the baby's hand with both their hands reaching in.
Oh, that's so cute.
I know, right? And so symbolic.
Totally. Like, it just really speaks to, family and that new unit they've created.
So then we have Shada Wall. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really know his music that well,
Okay.
but the article calls him the king of African dancehall.
So.
I know, right? He had a daughter in November, and his girlfriend Molly shared the news with pictures of the hospital room all decorated for the baby.
Oh. So I guess the king of African dancehall had a little princess arrive.
Yeah, I like that. And lastly, we have AJ Pounds, who's a media personality. She decided to do something completely different.
Oh.
Yeah. Instead of hospital photos, she used photos from this amazing maternity photo shoot to announce her baby in February.
Oh, wow. So no hospital scenes at all?
Nope. Very stylized and curated.
Interesting. So we've now seen 5 very different ways these celebrities have decided to share their baby news. What are your first thoughts? Anything standing out to you?
Well, it's interesting how there's such a range of approaches to privacy.
Yeah.
You know, like Freezy's hospital bed photo felt incredibly intimate and in the moment, but then Asantewa and AJ Pounds went for a more controlled and carefully thought out reveal.
That's true. And it makes you wonder, how much of it is about actually sharing their happiness and how much is it about, crafting a specific image for their followers.
Yeah, it's such a blurry line.
It really is, especially these days when everyone is so careful about what they present online.
It's like you said earlier.
Yeah,
These announcements become part of their brand.
exactly. And it makes you think, are we seeing a shift towards people just showing these really perfect stylized pictures of childbirth?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about how these announcements might change how people in general think about parenthood.
Absolutely. Like, even though we know both parents are obviously involved, most of these announcements were made by the mothers.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think that kind of subtly reinforces, traditional gender roles?
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. It's like these baby announcements can actually reflect bigger societal norms.
It is something to think about.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole privacy thing.
Right.
These kids are going to grow up in the spotlight. Their lives are documented from day one.
It's true. Where do we draw the line between a celebrity's right to share their life and, the right to privacy for their kid?
Yeah. It's a tough one. And it gets even trickier when you think about the fact that celebrity babies can be used to make money.
Oh, yeah. You mean like their pictures being used to sell stuff?
Exactly. They become like these mini celebrities before they can even talk.
Which raises a whole other set of questions about, is this really fair to the child?
Right. Who is really benefiting from all this exposure?
Definitely a lot to unpack. But going back to what you said earlier about how these announcements might affect how people view parenthood, this article just focuses on how happy these celebrities are to be parents.
Right.
Is there a risk that we start to get unrealistic expectations about what being a parent is really like?
Oh, for sure. I think that's definitely a valid concern. These announcements often just show this really perfect picture of parenthood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they don't exactly show the sleepless nights.
Right. Exactly. They don't show the hard parts or how tough it can be to balance work and family.
Yeah, it's all very glamorous.
And while it's great to celebrate new life and how wonderful families are, I think it's also important to be realistic about it. Being a parent is amazing, but it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not always Instagram worthy.
Very true. It's so important to remember that, especially with something as personal as being a parent.
You've got to find the right balance,
Yeah.
Celebrate the good stuff, but don't forget about the challenges too.
Imagine how different these announcements would have looked even a few years ago, before social media was such a big deal.
I know, right? Things have changed so much.
Social media has completely changed how celebrities interact with their fans,
And now it's like they're expected to share everything.
which can make it even harder to separate their public image from their personal life.
Exactly. Makes you wonder how they'll handle parenthood with all that attention.
Will they share every little thing? Or try to keep their kids out of it?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's like we're seeing a whole new chapter of celebrity culture, where being a parent is mixed up with their image and their brand.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It'll be interesting to see how things change over the next few years.
Okay, so we've talked about privacy, gender roles, how celebrity babies are used to sell things, and how these announcements might change how we think about parenthood. What other big questions do you think these celebrity births bring up?
It makes you think about these kids, growing up with everyone watching their every move. How's that going to affect them? How will it shape who they become and how they feel about their own privacy?
That's something a lot of celebrity kids have to deal with, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's no right answer. Some of them love the attention, but others really struggle with it, trying to figure out who they are outside of their parents' fame.
It's definitely a unique challenge. And it makes you think about the bigger picture, too. About how fame and family are changing now that everyone's online.
Exactly. It's all getting mixed up together, isn't it? It makes you wonder what'll happen next. Are we just going to see these super polished commercial versions of parenthood everywhere?
Who knows? Maybe there'll be a shift back to something more real, more about privacy.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. We started with just a simple article about celebrity babies, and look where we ended up.
I know, right?
Talking about privacy, gender roles, how companies use kids to sell stuff, and how these announcements might be changing how we view parenthood.
It just shows that even something like celebrity baby news can make us think about bigger issues if we're willing to look a little deeper.
I totally agree. And for everyone listening, we hope this has given you some food for thought the next time you see a celebrity baby picture popping up online.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you see these announcements affecting our culture? Let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's a conversation that's just getting started, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. As these kids grow up and as technology changes how we view fame and family.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been amazing.